Maono, a company based out of Shenzhen, China, and whose name means vision in Swahili, and produced this mic with the help of a Kickstarter campaign. The microphone did well, and they seem to be doing well as a business. They boast 16 million users and can be found in 153 plus countries. In the About Us section, they talk about the rise of independent content creation and the need for a simpler solution. They basically try to bridge the gap between amateur and professional equipments. Enough with the history lesson. Let's go. The PM500C is their top tier microphone, at least price-wise, but the PD400X has one trick up its sleeve, a USB-C connection, with an accompanied app or software to act somewhat as an audio interface. So in other words, all you need is the mic itself and you're good to go. The question is, how good is the Maono PD400X mic? The short answer is, it's good, really good. So let's talk about what makes it a good microphone. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not a professional by any means, but I feel qualified to talk about the subject simply because I tackle it from the perspective of an amateur and someone who wants to improve the quality of his production, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. There is a lot to like about it. They really try to do everything in one microphone and almost got it right. But don't get disappointed when I say almost got it right. You will see that the things that they didn't do well will not affect the functionality of the microphone. This is what you get in the box. A metal base to attach the mic to, a windscreen or foam, a USB-C cable, an XLR cable, a user manual, and of course the microphone itself. The design of the mic is immaculate. It looks a lot like the Rode Pod mic, but better in my opinion. I'm a fan of the stealth look and matte finish. It looks clean and professional. Although I like RGB, I think this is an excellent choice that they didn't include it. I'm not a huge fan of RGB on a mic. It looks cheaper and I find it distracting. The first thing you notice right away is the weight. It's built like a tank. If I had no idea how much it costs, and you remove the logo and any indication of branding, I would price it at $300 to $400 US. It's that good. There's always something about the weight that makes the product feel premium or not. More weight usually means better quality, and the Maono doesn't disappoint in this department. XLR and USB combo. No need for an audio interface. I say no need, as you can use it right off the box. But to take advantage of the superior XLR connection, you will need an audio interface. They do sell 3 types of audio interfaces if you want to keep your equipments uniformed. The AMC2 Neo at around $60 US, the AME2 at around $130 US. This one, by the way, is my favorite design-wise, and the AM100 at about $200 US. Speaking of combos, they work together at the same time. I'm talking about the XLR and the USB connection, meaning you can use them to connect to 2 different devices and record at the same time. I can see it being useful in certain scenarios where you want one recording to be mixed with music and chat and the other being recorded alone for post-production and fine-tuning, or streaming using a PC and a phone at the same time. Just bear in mind that it draws power from your phone to power up, so you might need an adapter to charge your phone and stream at the same time. Mute button. It's upside down, by the way. This is always a plus to have. A mute on a mic is always faster than any other methods, as the mic is always within sight and reach, making it faster and more convenient. Just note that this ability is lost when you're using it with the XLR connection. It bypasses the mic software and connects to the microphone directly, as you're expected to control it using an audio interface. Clicky wheel. An excellent addition to have In addition to the mute button, following the previous rule, any onboard controls are lost when connected to the XLR. Via USB, the wheel serves 3 functions: mic gain, headphone volume, and monitor mix. Now, you might not use it at all time, as once you adjust your preferred settings, you will usually stick with them. But it's nice to have the ability to control the mic via hardware rather than software. You will notice when using the software that the input from the wheel will be visible as you use it. Another thing I like about it is it's really heavy. It won't be moved around with the cable, even with a much thicker XLR cable. I suppose it's not a huge deal, as most modern microphones consider the stability factor, and it's mostly cheaper microphones that suffers from it, but it's something to mention. Everything is in the box: cables, stand, software. You can buy this mic and you can start using it right away. You don't need to buy any additional equipments to use it. For those who are not familiar with what I mean by equipments, in order to use an XLR mic like the Shure SM7B for example, you need an audio interface to use it, and a cloud lifter to boost the gain, and an XLR cable, and the combination of these 4 is no less than $800 in equipments. With this, however, you can choose to do both. You can, for example, use the USB connection to get going and upgrade your equipments in the future as you grow your business or need to improve your audio. Bear in mind that although the USB is easier to use, the XLR is more superior in terms of quality. If you're a newbie, you will not notice the difference, but as you continue to use, you will start noticing the difference. Another use case is you can have it with all the bells and whistles at home, but when you're traveling, all you need is the microphone and a USB cable. So it is portable in that aspect and not something that can be done easily with other XLR only microphones. Now last but not least, and by far my favorite, the light indicator to monitor your volume to see if you're peaking. This I find personally useful as I record voiceovers while reading from my notes or script to keep my thoughts organized, and I tend to move or push the mic away while looking at my screen, so with a quick glance I can see what's going on. Not to mention that it helps me to maintain the same level of voice volume. When reading something for hours, you can easily lose track and increase or decrease your voice volume, almost like driving a car without a speedometer. Now, let's talk about some not so great things. I call it not so great because it's unfair to say bad, because they do try to bring some features, but they fell short in some aspects. What makes it not so great? The mute button. The mute button should be a physical button, not touch or capacitive. You can easily mute yourself while moving the mic around without knowing it, and I have done it on a couple of occasions. A physical button would have been a better choice in my opinion. It doesn't bother me as of yet, but I can see it being an issue if you're a gamer and happen to move the mic while focusing on playing the game. The wheel or the knob could be better in quality. It's not bad, it's clicky and has no cap or end, but it just feels a little cheap compared to the rest of the microphone. You can see as I move it here, it tends to wobble a bit. The foam or the windscreen. It's the only part that feels that it didn't get enough attention in my opinion. At least that's my first impression. It feels a lot like a plastic than a foam. It gets the job done, but you lose the premium feeling. I found out later as I was preparing my script that this is actually an upgraded version versus what was released earlier with the microphone. So that's kind of strange. The stand. Now this isn't really Maono's fault. It's standard in this line of products. It's just short and you will definitely need a boom arm. The problem is that if you're using it on a standard desk, it's too short to reach your mouth. The PD400X is a dynamic microphone, meaning it picks sounds from a close distance and rejects noises from nearby areas. So even a few inches away from your mouth, it will change the quality a lot. It's generally recommended that you keep it about 2 to 6 inches away for the best sound quality and results. To their credit, they have other mics that come with the boom arm, but not the PD400X. Let's talk about the sound quality. In terms of sound quality, I found it to be a lot more consistent. In this visual representation from Audacity, you can see that it's very stable compared to the Razer Siren Mini, which is a condenser microphone. Now, if you do enough editing, you can make them both sound almost the same. But that's exactly the point. With the PD400X, it requires less work, and this is especially important. Content creation requires a lot of work. Filming, editing, thumbnails, audio editing, sound quality, etc. With this mic, there's one less thing you need to do, or at least not spend as much time editing. Not to mention that not everyone is an expert in using audio software. Now, this is when it comes to pre-recorded content. For live content, you have no option of editing. That's why the PD400X wins every time. So in essence, the mic reduces the workload and helps you streamline your production and keep it simple. Now, a small tip when using the microphone. The PD400X uses a cardioid polar pattern, which effectively captures the sound from the front while minimizing off-axis noises. This pattern is particularly well suited for recording vocals and spoken words, as it helps to isolate the desired sound source and reduces interface from surrounding environmental noise. So for best results, make sure you're speaking to it from the top. Overall, this is definitely an upgrade for me. There's very noticeable quality improvement over the previous microphone. And I'm happy to keep this item for long-term use. All of this for less than $150. That's the end of this video. I hope it will help you make a better purchasing decision. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next week.